Yes, good evening, UK. Hope everyone's well. And tonight on Paranormal Path Peeps, we have Paranormal Research York. How is everyone doing?
Good, thank you.
Evening.
Really well, thank you. You?
Yeah, cool, thanks. And how are you, Lois?
I'm absolutely fine. How's everyone? Nice to meet you guys. It's
And
nice
you
to
too.
finally put a face to a name.
That's not always a good thing, though, is it?
Well, I'll let you know by the end.
Hi, Nigel. I hope you're okay.
Hi, Nigel.
Right, you've been a team for quite a while, haven't you? So I've seen you around on Facebook for ages.
Yeah, we've been doing this since about 2018, I think. So
Wow, that's
we've,
cool.
we've survived lockdown.
That's the one, isn't it? That's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, where did paranormal start off for you then? Shall we start with you, Kevin?
Yeah,
first?
if you want to. Yeah.
So you first encounter that something else there, or
Quite late in life for me, actually, was
paranormal?
when my grandfather was in his last few weeks. I was living on my own and I was getting activity in the house. I'd never had that before. Doors closing, wardrobe doors closing upstairs.
Wow.
Didn't really take a lot of notice of it. And I was quite happy to have spirit around, particularly family. My sort of grandmother was around, and I had the urge to play us like 60s music, which she loved. And then it sort of changed a little bit. There was an instant when I went to the shop, and the song in my head was boiled beef and carrots all the way around, and I figured it must have been my great gran, which
Wow.
was and on the way she said, "I used to live in that house," and she pointed out the house where she used to live, and I knew that because I used to go and visit it, and I used to live quite local to where she lived, but she passed a few years ago, and again I didn't really take a lot of notice of it until, I don't know if you remember the Sky channels when they used to have the games on the remote controls.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Do you remember them?
Yeah.
And I remember sort of sitting in the armchair and playing this game and getting woken up as if to say, like, come on, you need to restart it, and the game had finished. And I didn't really take a lot of notice until, say, for instance, if your highest score was 1,000, and you sometimes when you get a higher score, you struggle to beat it. And I woke up and my highest score was something like 5,000. I'd done it in my sleep, and it was like, that's just not right. It's like, it's really weird. And it was then I started taking notice, and the only person I could think of was that it was my great uncle John, and he was, when you used to go around his house, it was kids like should be seen and never heard.
Right.
So there was absolutely no connection with him whatsoever, and that's what made me start asking questions. Well, hang on, there's something else going on here, and I had a friend who was into spiritualism, and she came and gave me not a reading, but she told me, helped me unpick what was going on. And essentially, my granddad was dying, and the people were gathering round. And I think the thing that sort of blew me away was, I was one Friday afternoon. I finished work about 12 o'clock, and when you sat there and you just plan your evening and you think, right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. In my head, I was thinking, right, I'm going to go pick my son up from work, do the dinner, come back, go to see my granddad, and then come back and watch the football. And that was my plan. At 3 o'clock, I was saying, there's this voice in my head just constantly going, have you dinner now? Have you dinner now? And I'm thinking, I don't want my dinner now. I'm arguing with myself. There's only me in the house, and I'm arguing with myself whether to have my dinner or not. In the end, I gave up, and I had my dinner early. I went to pick my son up from work, and he's like a dawdler. Last one out, always last one out. When I went to pick him up in peak Friday traffic, I got to the T junction on a really busy road, got straight out. Went to the works. He was waiting for me, not the last one out. I got home with like loads of time. I thought, oh, I'll go and make him his dinner. And this voice in my head, no, stick to the plan, keep going. And I went to the nursing home where my granddad was. And as I pulled up, it was like November time, as I pulled up, a car pulled up behind me, and the lights turned out at the same time as mine did. I knocked on the door of the nursing home to be let in. There was this really big old-fashioned house, like a big Victorian house or Georgian house. And I remember getting halfway up the stairs, and there was a knock at the door, and I apologised to the nurse and said that I didn't know anybody was there. She said, "No, that's fine." So I went to my granddad's room, fully expecting to see a ghost. I had no idea, but I'm thinking I'm prepared for anything here.
Wow.
And when I went into his room, he was asleep. It was in complete darkness. The television wasn't on, and I just sat there in the darkness. And I thought, whatever happens is going to happen. I was there about 2 minutes, and there was a knock on the door. The person who was behind me was the doctor, and my granddad had been ill during the day, and they'd called the doctor out, and nobody knew. And it was his express wish that he didn't want to die in hospital. And when the doctor came in and had a look at him, woke him up and checked him over, he said that he really should go to hospital. And I said, hang on a second. I said, I know he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And I was able to ring my mother up, and she said, no, definitely not. He's not going to go to hospital. If I'd been there 5 minutes later, that decision would have been made, and we wouldn't have had a say in that. And I think that people can say it's a string of coincidences, but it was just the whole day was then leading to that one conclusion to intervene to stop that decision being made.
Yeah.
And it just sort of blew me away that spirit would work that hard, yet made things so easy to get there within seconds of a time.
Wow.
And after that was like just in complete awe. When my granddad passed away, I went to see a medium because I didn't want a message, but I just wanted to understand what I'd been through, and how it was working for me. And I was there for about 3 hours with this lady, and she went into a lot of detail about what was happening. And she gave me a message at the end of it. She said, "I've got somebody here called Frank." That was it. I said, "I don't know anybody called Frank." I said, "But I'll ask my mother. She knew my granddad's side. It might be something to do with that." So I asked my mother. She said, "No, there's nobody called Frank." We went out the warm and boarded because my granddad had a couple of brothers that we weren't sure about, and there was nothing there. So I went home the following day, that was Saturday, and I told my mum all about it, and I said, try to work out who this Frank was. We couldn't do it. The following Saturday, the voice was in my head, "You know who I am, you do know who I am, you do know who I am."
Wow.
So I picked up the phone, talked to my mother, who was a Catholic and doesn't believe any of this. Didn't believe any of this. So it was quite a typical conversation. And I said, I've got a picture of you and my dad with friends, and I knew the circle of friends, what people used to call uncle and aunties. Yeah. I said, "Right, really?" I said, "It was that sort of picture. So is it somebody in there?" She says, "No, there's nobody called Frank." And I was on the phone for about 20 minutes, and I'm asking all these questions as, could it be a nickname? Could it be something else? And then I said, could it be a maiden name? And my mum said, "Oh yeah, Pam Franks."
Oh wow. My God.
Wow.
And this voice in my head just said, yes, yes, yes. It was like, why didn't you just say Pam Cheeseborough, which is what her name was?
Make it hard.
Yeah, or Pam. Why say Frank? It made me work so hard. But the thing was, Pam and my mum were really close to each other, and Pam had passed. But they'd argued for the last couple of years of their lives. And Pam had lost her husband, she'd lost her son.
Oh, wow.
She only had a daughter living and a sister. So my mum said to me, "Well, what's the significance of Pam coming through then?" I said, "Well, she must want to give a message to somebody that she's all right." I mean, I was quite naive at all this. And she said, "Well," she said, "if her daughter saw me, she would walk on the other side of the street because of what happened between them." And she said, "I've never seen a sister for like 10, 15 years. She said, "So that's not going to happen." So anyway, phone went on Monday night. My mother phoned me up. She never guess who I bumped into today. I said, "Who?" She's Pam Cheeseborough's sister at the bottom of the room.
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
Brilliant.
And that was like the start of my journey, I guess. So, yeah.
Wow. There's just no denying it, so then.
It made my mother think. So yeah.
Wow.
So that's my entry into the paranormal, I guess.
My gosh,
Um,
that's the thing. When something happens, you want to know answers,
Yeah.
and it is so hard to find them, and you can't talk to people about it because
No, I mean,
people laugh or oh yeah, whatever, or and
yeah.
wow.
So anyway, that's a long story. So I apologise for making
Well,
No,
no,
do you know that's an interesting one, because I think paranormal, well, not so much paranormal, but when you get the messages, don't ignore them, because like yourself, one night I said I was going to shops and I kept stalling. I'll go in a bit, I'll go in a bit. Loss as usual, 5 minutes, right? And I kept stalling, and I would usually go to McCall's, but if I went to McCall's, I know what I'm like. I could stand there for hours and speak. So this one particular night, I walked down and I went to head to McCall's and then decided, nah, I can't be bothered walking all that distance. And I went to the garage, and as I came back for the garage and went up into the house, my phone was sitting, and if I had just went to McCall's, I'd have walked in the middle of a robbery, but something kept telling me not to
oh
go,
my god.
and it was like, and I was all for going to McCall's rather than going to Guild, but something inside me kept. It was like, as you say, it's like a voice that turns around and says, and it's no coincidence if you've got that gut instinct and that voice telling you don't go, always follow it because you're bound to.
Yeah. I've got to.
Yeah.
Hi, Louisa.
And I think anybody sort of on this route doing this, we totally get, that your experience. We hear similar, don't we? And you know it can happen. And wow, for your first encounter,
I mean,
that's
when you look
That is
back, you think,
brilliant.
it's obvious now, but at the time it wasn't.
yeah, you wouldn't, and you
No.
question everything along the way as well, don't you?
Yeah.
You think, oh, it's my imagination. This, and it's wow.
Yeah.
Were you skeptic beforehand? Before, obviously.
No, I wasn't a skeptic, but I wasn't. I hadn't followed any particular path of wanting knowledge about that type of thing. It was just something in the background, there was an interest there, but not.
Sorry.
It's fine.
I've got a dog and a bird and a tortoise.
Oh, we have a mouse. We have a mouse in the garden. And when the mouse comes out to play, he watches it. When it goes back in, he barks.
Oh.
You might see me dipping in and out just to him.
I've covered the bird up tonight because he tends to sort of go for it about 9 o'clock, and it's like no mate. Yeah, and it goes right through your ears. It's that high. But what about your story, Louisa? She's got a lovely little pup. Just replied to a dog.
I'm trying to read the comments. Oh, her dog.
Mine's asleep, luckily. He's probably in grumpy mode because I'm not talking to him. So he just knows that I'm going to ignore him now. So yeah, he knows. Bless him. But what about your story then, Claire? How'd you follow that one?
Well, not as elaborate as that one. It's actually nothing written. It's nothing like that. When I was young, my mum and my grandma used to do Ouija boards around at my nana's house, and I was never allowed to watch. But I used to, sit on the stairs, peeping through the rails, watching what was going on. And it always fascinated me what that was all about. But I didn't really sort of get into this for a good few years after. Like, the paranormal has always fascinated me, the stereotypical ghost stories, things like that. But I do remember one incident when I was working in a nursing home, and I was on with my buddy in the evening, and we were just in the corridor. We'd just sort of done lockdown through the, everyone was gone to bed and all the doors were closed, and we were chatting, and this rush of cold air came through us, and we sort of said, oh gee, that's cold, it's really cold, because it was a warm night, and looked down at the end of the corridor where there was a wall and two doors, both doors were closed, and I saw a nurse go from one door, come out of one door and go straight through. It's like, wow. What was that? But she had on like full white, white skirts up to the knees, white stockings, white shoes, and a little hat that the nurses used to wear. And I didn't think at the time she looks like somebody from the 50s or the 60s. I just thought, who's that going through? Who's let, you know, we closed the doors, went down to the corridor, both doors were shut. And it was like, what was that? I can't explain that. Can't explain it. And there was so many stories from that nursing home. I just, you know, I could go on and on and on. But from then on, I just became more and more interested. Why can't I explain that? What happened? There's got to be a rational explanation for it. And it's just gone on and on from there, really. I'll always try and look for an explanation. Sometimes I get a bit carried away and go, but you know, you do your brain thinks, you know, but I do try and look for an explanation first. And if I can't explain it, then I don't know. I can't explain it. So.
Yeah, that's it. I never call anything paranormal. I just try and debunk it so much, but then it's like I can't explain it. I can't say it's paranormal because it's awkward, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what about you then, Mark?
It started quite a young age. My granddad used to be a caretaker at a primary school, and we used to always go lock up on a night, and there was always a sense of someone being around, and you could always sort of smell like a tobacco, and it was always down a certain corridor which was called the Grapevine Corridor. So as soon as you sort of walk that corridor, you could feel it getting colder. And then it used to take you into what was like the sports hall. And one night we was walking through, and the clock at the far end of the wall flew off. There was no one else in there. It has never ever fallen off before. And then one of the doors just slammed, which the door was open. There was no wind. But it used to be every time there was, you could always tell different things were happening in there. And there'd been reports of people in the main reception had thought a guy had come in with like a long sort of jacket on and a hat, and the next minute it disappeared. And then ever since that, that was always something that me and my granddad always used to sort of always go in, and my granddad always used to say, "Come on, where are you? I know you're in here." And sadly, I lost my granddad in 2019. And then on the day of his funeral, it was in November, and we was all at the front, and this random butterfly just kept circling around us all. But it was only the close family at the front. So now whenever I see a butterfly, I know that he's there, here, there and around. And I remember doing one of the events and was doing the planchette, and obviously we said, "Is there anyone in the circle you want to talk to?" And it come to me, and I was like, right, I know where this is going. And then I just asked questions in my head, and all he wanted to know was my nana okay? And then so I told her everything, and she's been happy since she's known that. And that's because she was worrying, but obviously he was worrying about her, so it sort of put her mind to ease once I told her that he was okay and he wasn't suffering anymore. And it's just little things like that. And I did the Great North Run for charity because he sadly died of Parkinson's. So I said I was going to do it. It got delayed a year due to COVID. So I did it. And on the run that day, at one point, a butterfly passed me. And I was like, I know he's here pushing me around. And that's it. And it's just little things like that. It's so
beautiful, think,
yeah, it can be like the coldest time of the year and a butterfly will appear and you just think, what?
Yeah, that's not allowed to be out this time of year,
No, well, that's it. When it was in November and you just think it was such a cold day, a miserable day.
Yeah.
A butterfly just flying around the church, and it was just circling around like me, my sister, my nana, and it was just like, we just knew it was him checking that everyone was all right.
Wow. That's so beautiful, that is. I had a similar experience, well, a tiny experience with a butterfly My cat got run over and I basically saw it happen. So I was waiting for somebody to pick me up. My cat ran out on the road. A car came along. I think she had a heart attack. Yeah, it's just scared of fright. So the next day in my house, in the dining room, there's a butterfly just by the window inside. And I've not had a butterfly in since then, before then, any of the time. And you just knew. And it just, I didn't even believe in this that much then either. But you just knew what it was for. And yeah, that was special.
Yeah, well, we've had it. We've done some work at home, and it was always one to check how things have been done properly. And every time we do a little project, always one seems to appear in the room where we've done the work, and it's as if he's coming to check that we've done it right.
That's wonderful. I'm just going to do a quick shout out to everyone. Got a few watching then. Nigel Porter, Carl Hodgson, Louisa Brown, Kelly Elliott. Thanks for watching us.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. We can't read the comments because it's like on our little phone, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
yeah, because but thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah. So we've got Jamie York, Kaya, Andy Tom, and Carl Hodgson's got a story for us. So Carl, with hospitals in 1999, is visiting his dad in hospital, walking along a corridor, and he saw a nurse in front of him. Looking back, this nurse came from nowhere. She turned up the side of a drinks machine. When Carl reached the machine, it was just a wall. He found out it's once a door into a long bricked up ward. Porters who work there say it's the ghost of a nurse who died in the area. So he frequented the place.
Great story.
Yeah, lovely. Carl has so many stories. It's brilliant. He's got so many encounters and everything. And hiya, hi Jenny.
Hi Jenny.
Good evening. Hope you're well. Paranormal is great though. You meet people, and like I found your group on Facebook. Maybe 4 years ago, even ages ago.
2018, I think it was.
Yeah.
What?
I think I found it quite early. I think because I didn't even have my page Paranormal Path, and that's been around for about 2 years. So that's well before lockdown as well. Yours. Hi Scott. I hope you're okay. And and I kind of followed you and stuff, and you are in such a cool location of York.
Oh, we're very lucky.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what can you say? For anyone watching in the US, how do you explain York?
Where do you start?
Paranormal city.
Haunted.
Well, National Geographic calls it the most haunted city in Europe, based on the number of people who've seen regular sightings. So it's and the experiences we've had, we tend to agree with that. It's we only work in York. I mean, we're quite unique in those terms. I think in terms of paranormal teams, we don't do events around the country, but we just focus, primarily on York and the surrounding area. Really,
we do private things around the country, though.
Yeah,
private for ourselves, but
but it's so amazing. The buildings are beautiful. What sort of age does York go back to?
Sorry?
Ever since, really? Is it Saxon? When was the first settlement in the area?
Oh, the first evidence of settlements was Romans.
Oh, of course, yeah. Of course,
and then, but before that, York was heavily forested with oaks, which would have been associated with, we think, maybe Druids.
Wow.
Like a lot of Druid communities, and the Romans had a love-hate relationship with Druids. Depends which emperor was on the throne at the time, but some of them liked them, some of them didn't like them, but I think they all sort of were wary of them and what their powers could be. So we were wondering whether York had a community of Druids, and that maybe caused the Romans to settle, along with the fact they had a river settlement as well. I mean, that would be a big plus for them when they could sail up the River Ouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
which can be bad at the moment at times, can't it, as well? struggled again earlier in the year with floods. It's a bit of
Yes.
a nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah, it still does. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but it's
then
so
we had
stunning.
then we had the Vikings as well.
Yeah,
And they've came, and then we had William the Conqueror as well, and
A lot of history.
building Clifford's Tower, or start
yeah.
building
I
Clifford's
love
Tower.
Clifford's Tower because it's my granddad's surname. So
Oh,
when I
right.
first
Oh,
went
right.
to York and it's like there, it's like, wow, this is cool. Obviously, it's
We
not,
were
but-
really lucky to go there on last Friday.
Oh, really? Wow.
They've they've modernised it,
Yeah, I've seen.
brought it back to life a little bit.
Yeah, it's
It's got a
amazing.
roof on it, hasn't it?
It's got a partial roof on it. It's just got a square in the middle. And it's like, but the inside, it gives you access now to places where you couldn't get access before. Basically, it was a 2-tier building, but you could never get up to the top tier other than the outside steps. But now you've got access to it, and it's just opened up a whole new feature. It really is really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think English Heritage spent £5 million on renovations.
Definitely worth a visit.
Yeah,
It was beautiful
definitely.
before.
Yeah.
It kind of, it didn't have a roof, but it's got quite a lot still to it, wasn't it?
Mm.
But now they've spent that on it. It's fantastic. How long was it closed for, though?
Oh,
I
2
don't know.
years? 2 years, I think.
Oh, okay.
Was it
Yeah.
2 years? Was it a year?
Yeah.
Could have been 3.
You think
Yeah.
so?
All right, that's fine then, because I've got Nottingham. I'm near Nottingham Castle, and that was closed for years.
Right.
And it took so long to actually renovate it. I've not even been to see it yet. I'll actually see Clifford's Tower before I go and see my own castle. I will do, yeah, definitely.
I'm sorry that I'm fidgeting. It's just the dog's jumped on my lap. He wanted to be on my lap.
Do you know your dog's so adorable? I keep this when the wee eyes pop up.
This is what I'm left with.
Oh,
Because
beautiful.
he's cold. He doesn't like, and he's not getting the attention. So
No.
it's a way to settle him.
Don't they?
Have you guys got a favourite place that you like to explore?
We know Mark has.
Yeah, go on, Mark.
Probably Jacob's Well for me, yeah.
Haven't you been yet?
Yeah, we've all been.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, but that's your favourite, isn't it?
That's the
It's-
favourite.
Yeah, this is it. An amazing
Tina.
Hi,
building.
Tina.
Oh yeah, I'd love to go. Like, I am coming up to York twice, but one I'm going to be involved with the Bloom Festival, so yay.
Yeah.
So I'll be hanging around there most of the time. I did try and pop into York last time, but there's so much on down at the racecourse, you don't get much chance to get into York,
No, that's true.
especially if you try and get a bus on a Sunday,
Oh,
Yeah.
and then work out where the bus stop is to return.
Yeah.
Oops, that was a nightmare.
Have you been to the neighbours' marriage at the racecourse? Then?
Because I'd had such a nightmare trying to get a bus out of York back, I was going to stop there on the way, because I think we part of the party actually camped right near the Naysmere anyway.
All right.
I think it's where the bottom of the fair is, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
So I kind of know where it is, and I walked right near it. I didn't actually go to it, so this time I am definitely going to go to it. I'm definitely going to do a live feed. Yeah. Oh, we've got Tyburn as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. This is it. Like, these are all around me, and I've probably flown over it. But yeah.
What does that say?
Yeah.
Up over to Tyburn.
Go to Tyburn. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just it's just a beautiful place, isn't it? But yeah, when you're at the racecourse doing that, you don't really get much chance to get into it. But I have to go and nip and see those if I can. But yeah.
So what? Sorry.
So carry on.
No, I was just going to say, ask Mark, what is it about Jacob's Well then that you like so much?
Oh, okay.
I just think it's such a unique little place, which can be so different each time you go. So you can go one night and it can just feel really sort of calm and sort of, I don't know, it just has that gentle side, and then you can go another night and it just feels that darker side.
Wow.
Okay. And it is just such a quirky little place. To say it is so small, just so much happens there, but it's different each time. I think.
So what is it? What is Jacob's Well then?
So it was. Go on, Claire.
No, you carry on. You're all right.
No, go on. You do your side.
Oh, we have a historian here.
No. No, it's the parish rooms for the Holy Trinity.
Wow, okay.
So it was. It's 15th century, and it was built. It's built just off Micklegate, Trinity Lane, and it's on 2 floors. So we investigate the ground floor and we investigate the upper floor as well. The floor runs direct, sort of straight across the building. It was the home to the last prioress of Clementhorpe Nunnery. It's been a pub. It's been a coaching inn. It's got a lot of history. A lot of history.
And the surrounding area as well, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole surrounding area. It's no, and when we decided we wanted to investigate there, we myself and Alicia, who was part of the team, we went and did a little recce round there, and we were upstairs and we could hear the sound of somebody coming up the stairs, but it sounded like a foot and then a thud and then a foot and then a thud, and the only way I could describe it was like somebody on a peg leg walking up the stairs with a wooden leg.
Wow.
And so it's just from that moment, that was it, hooked. And I'm kind of with Mark. It's like, I think it's one of my favourites.
Brilliant.
I can't be biased, but we do have we've got a few, but that's a really good. They're all really good locations. They're all different in their own rights, but
you do get favourites though.
Yeah.
Whether it's an experience you've got there or for a different reason.
Yeah.
I've got 3 favourites, it's what it is. But yeah, they're all brilliant, but totally different locations.
Yep.
Yeah.
Different spirits, different
They
different
each
locations.
offer something different, and
Yeah.
And it's what you take away from it.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I do remember we had because we do private events as well, and we had a hen party, and your mind goes through the roof when you think of hen parties and paranormal, but they were really a good group, and they came to Jacob as well, and they were sort of skeptics, but they were open-minded skeptics, which we love people who are open-minded skeptics. And they weren't sure what experience they were going to get. They said definitely no Ouija boards, so we obviously stuck to that. But one of the girls had the parabolic ear on, where you put the headphones on and you're walking around with the thing, and she opened the door into the garden at Jacob's Well, and she just turned straight back round, took the earphones off, and refused to go anywhere near it. And when we asked her what she said, she said as soon as you opened the door, all she heard was a voice saying, "We're all dead." And it was like, and she was like, "No, I'm not having any more of that. I don't want to stop that now." So, yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I agree. It's a fantastic place, and as Mark said, every day is a different day when you go there. And I think the spirits sometimes react to the group that are there.
Yeah, that's it.
And the different personalities within that group. We run quite controlled events in terms of, we don't provoke, we don't do anything irrational. Everything's professional, as professional as you can be, really.
That's it.
We're not running around screaming on things out. But, and Mark is our tech guy, and he's really good with the CCTV and watching that. How he does it for so long, I have no idea. But he's just studious and watching 4 screens and sometimes 8 screens and writing everything down. And when we take a break or change over an activity, he'll replay it back for the guests to see. And we've got some really good stuff, and it's interesting. Would you think, Mark?
I do, yeah. It is good, but I also, while I'm watching it, I will try and sort of debunk certain things. So it's not like I'm just going, oh yeah, that's that, and we'll just show people. And I'll make loads of notes, but I'll sort of highlight certain ones that I feel will benefit the people seeing them. And then I'm open to people going, oh no, I don't think so,
Yeah.
We'll go back many times and
Mm.
just check through it all. But I definitely think it's been a good addition, and I think the guests have really took to it well. And sometimes, like the last event we did, there was hardly anything happened.
No,
So
there's nothing, was there?
Yeah.
No.
But then
so
that's a good thing to show your guests that you know what, you can go out. See, even if you don't get nothing, you know, it's not even a wasted night because you're getting to spend that time in history. That's it.
Yeah,
In a
that's true.
whole.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's the way I see it.
and it
tended
shows
to
you
be the
real as
night.
well as a team, doesn't it? It
Oh,
shows
aye.
you real, but also it can be one person who's within the group who has off energy, which can cause it to be quiet.
Yeah, but I think that night we tended to find the sort of traditional techniques worked better than the technology side. Which that's just obviously how the spirits want to communicate on the night.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes with the public events, you want the flashing lights because for the skeptics, they don't believe unless they see something flashing in front of the face.
We actually had a skeptic come to Fairfield Manor, which is one of the regular ones that we do.
Yeah.
And he came with a party of 3 of us, so you sort of dragged along a little bit, which sometimes happens at events. And they were doing the planchette on the table, and his family were doing the planchette. The 3 of them were on there, and the planchette was going really wild. And it was literally sort of going, 6 feet one way, 6 feet the other way, and really fast. And they went, they were happy that it was none of them doing it.
Yeah.
There was only them 3 on it. And they were saying to him, come on, get involved. And he didn't until he said, right, I'll come on for a minute. But he was on there for about 20 minutes in the end. So that was like really good. And he was like, well, when the activity finished, he sat down in the chair and he put his head in his hands. I was like, you're all right? Are you sure you're okay? He says, because I thought there might be something wrong with him. He says, I just don't know how you've done it. I said, done what? He said, got the planchettes to move in response to the family. I said, how do you think we've done it? He said, either wires or batteries. I said, okay, that's fine. I said, if I've done it with wires, I said, well, where will the wires be? He said, under the table. So I said, well, have a look under the table. So he sort of half bent over. So I give him a torch. He says, no. I said, get on your knees and have a look under the table and see if you can see any wires at all. And he says, no, I can't see any. So I give him the planchette and I said, is there anywhere in there to put batteries in? He said, no, I can't see no batteries. I said, so it isn't. So his next thing was, well, can I come in here by myself in this room? I said, yeah, that's fine. We'll stand outside. One of us stand outside while you go in there. And he sent us the video.
Frozen. Hi, I don't know if you can hear us. Slightly frozen at the moment. Paranormal Brew, we've actually got some guests from the Haunted City of York.
Yeah.
And they're basically telling us about York and their stories really and their locations which they go to. Hope you're okay, Taryn.
So he had this video and he's walking
cut out
around.
then, sorry about that.
Oh, sorry, no, it's okay. But he has this video on his phone and he's walking around in this room, and he's just basically he shouts out and he just says, I need you to move something because I don't believe you're real. And he stops and he says, if you don't move anything, I just don't believe you exist. And at that, the planchette flies across the table by itself. And the reason we haven't put it online is he says lots of swear words.
Yeah.
And he puts his hand out, and he's in the video. He says, "There's no way I can reach that with my hand." And he's like, "Oh my God, what the hell am I doing here?" And he cuts the video short. He came out, so he got his own proof. But he was shocked at that. That was a good one. That one. But we obviously we can't put it on social media because there's a lot of swearing.
I think that would get reported.
Yeah. And how many times do you get to a location and they say, get out or something off or something?
That's
Yeah. That's usually the first thing you get, isn't it? First interaction.
It's not the first one, but sometimes we I think it's when we went to Beddown Hall last time, we had a spirit coming through, and they said that towards the end of the night we were just doing the last activity, and Claire got something on the spirit box. Do you remember?
I do. I can't remember exactly what but it wasn't happy. We were there, and I actually said, I'm going to stop. Because I think I said, if you know, I'm going to ask you a question. If you want me to stop, then tell me. And it actually did. It actually said it was either stop or get out, or something. Just leave.
Yeah.
I think it was just leave. I think.
Was it just leave?
I think so. Yeah.
And it was actually. Things don't usually unnerve me too much, but it was just the tone of voice and the fact that I'd said I will go. Then I'll turn around. You know, and leave. It was just the tone of the voice that actually did it. We know there's comments coming up, but we can't read them.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah,
no, it's just our screen's really little as well.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, I see.
I don't want anyone to think we're being rude, but it's just hard to.
No. Don't worry. It's just a comment from Paranormal Brew. I try and read out the major ones. A lot. It's just people saying hello and things like that, and yeah.
Right.
And you don't want to see my nonsense with Mr. Newton.
Yeah, Phil Newton is a guy from Haunted Derby, which isn't as haunted as York.
Yeah.
So we've got a question here from a person from Haunted Derby in the UK. Have any of you lovely folk done a Ouija board blindfolded?
Yeah.
I haven't. You have.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, it works.
It works. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So, how did it work? Who did you get through?
It was a spirit in one of the houses that we were doing at the time, and we do work with the sort of scientific community a little bit in what we do as well. So things like this we always will try, and it came through quite clearly. It was quite slow at first and a bit odd, but then we changed the planchette over, because it was sometimes if you get an older spirit, like particularly like not an older spirit as in age, but older spirit as in like further back you go.
Yeah.
When you're using a spirit board, it can be quite difficult because they come through with trying to say things how they would have said them. So it comes from the phonetic alphabet rather than the Roman one that we know, and it can be quite difficult to interpret sometimes. But and they get frustrated as well because
that's right.
You keep repeating, and they're not getting through. But yeah, it was a spirit of an oldish man who was telling us he'd lived in that house, and that to get out. So he wasn't happy that we were there. But yeah, it does work.
Yeah.
We do the blind spirit box as well.
Excellent.
Which works.
Estes method.
Yes.
I've done that.
Yes.
The blind spirit box where I've had the blindfold on and like the earphones in, and it just totally blocks out the sound. And it was so funny because one of the team I was out with, they said about a number, and I shouted every other number but that number. But then see, when we looked back at it, the numbers that I called out added to the number that they had.
Right.
So that was quite
intelligent.
Because he wrote 16 and I had said 844. So I'd went round the other way, because it was actually me that said, well, technically I have said your number, but it's came out as some.
Yeah.
That is so smart. Yeah, and spirit can be smart as well.
Yeah.
I kind of find sometimes that I pick up on too much and they don't like it.
Yeah.
I was actually at a castle the other day. I didn't quite realise the type of castle it was. It was a castle that had loads of parties and anything under the sun happened. And I was picking up on a lot of this, and they weren't impressed with it.
Yeah.
And we were asking the questions as well. And yeah, I think when they like first met us, because it was a public event, but in the end, like 3 of us who sort of do paranormal, sort of somebody I'd never met before. We just kind of linked up, and that was it. You know, we sat in a room, and you know, the spirit came in, they joined in with us, and then it got too much, and they're like, "Oh, we're not having this. They're
Yeah.
seeing too much." And it's amazing.
Have you been to the Nelson Museum at Sunderland?
No.
All right, that's we've investigated there a couple of times with David Dello, who's also in the team, and he's a volunteer at the museum, and he's really sort of connect with a spirit up there called I don't want to disrespect it, but it's Mr. Smith, but it's got a title, so it's either lieutenant or sergeant or something like that, but an aircraft pilot who crashed quite close to the museum, and he's built a display cabinet for this Mr. Smith. And what he did is there's all these artifacts inside the building that you can't get to, but he put a pendulum on the inside. So there's a little pendulum on a little arm just inside the window, so it's not subject to drafts or anything like that. And you can go to the pendulum and ask questions, and it responds behind the glass, and it's like really cool. It's you wouldn't see it unless you're looking for it, but when we were connected, just whizzes backwards and forwards to give you the answers. But this guy gets questioned so many times, and it just if he wants to cut it off, he'll just cut it off and just walk away. And it's just, so it can be going frenetic, really sort of frantically this pendulum, and then just stop for no reason. But it's a really good experiment because it's behind a pane of glass.
Wow, that's brilliant. But I totally get it, because like you get some locations which are open 2 plus whatever nights a week being investigated. They're getting new people in. They're waiting for people to walk in. They're probably standing there, hands in pockets, thinking, "Oh, what we got tonight? Shall we play with them? Shall we be a demon? Shall we do this? Shall we do that? Shall we scare them?"
Yeah.
And then they sort of measure you up, and then think, "Oh yeah, they're actually serious. They want to know about us." And I bet they do that. You can just imagine it, can't you? Just like we would.
Yeah.
The names they must call us and things like that.
Yeah, I think you've experienced that as well, Mark, haven't you? When we go in and ask the same questions, sometimes nothing happens.
Yeah, you can ask the same questions, and then on some of the venues, it can be really active early on, and then go really flat towards the end of the night. And then other venues can be slow to start with, and then as you're starting to wrap up, they get going, and you're just like, "Oh, you could have come earlier." But like you say, they're not performing, so they come when they want to come. So
that's right. You don't know when something's going to happen, and that's what it's about, though, isn't it? A thrill of a chase, because you can be there all the time, and then one thing just does it for the whole night, doesn't it? Blows your mind.
And a lot of the time it happens. Yeah, it happens a lot when you're not investigating. If you're sat having a chat, or just, I mean, quite often we'll just stand and chat around, and then you can hear it. You can hear it starting. So then you've stopped chatting and you start trying to communicate. It goes quiet again.
Yeah.
Then you go back to chatting. And it's like,
look at me.
I know, that's the sod's law. It's just like once you stop, you're like, oh, right, we need to grab the stuff, and then it just goes silent again. You're just like, oh god, come on.
Do you want to mention about the spirit box and the recorder at Fairfield in the cupboard? Remember about that?
Yeah, if you want.
So there's in Fairfield Manor, there's a tiny little cupboard, size of a book, and every time we open the cupboard, we get a response. Even if Claire and I are just in there together, or just team members in there together, we get a response either in a spirit box or something like that. So what Claire decided to do was put a spirit box inside the cupboard with a voice recorder on.
Wow.
And we got all kinds of interaction with spirit you could hear spirits saying, "Who are they? What are they doing? Where have they gone? Are they here? They're coming." And as soon as we walked into the library, it went quiet. And then when we left the library, they started chattering again.
Wow,
So,
that's an interesting technique. That's something to try.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, quite often we'll just leave voice recorders around in little places like that just to see if there's anything. But that's definitely the best one, isn't it, so far in the little.
Wow, that sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So I've got a few questions coming up then.
Okay.
Andy Tom, he's asking, have you ever had a famous spirit come through while on an investigation? So shall we start here with Mark?
I don't remember a famous one from doing an investigation, no.
Okay. So Kevin and Claire?
No.
There's only one that we're not going to say he's famous, but we could easily have been duped.
Okay, yeah.
Have you been to the Merchant Adventurers Hall in York?
I've seen it, not been in it, but it's beautiful.
Ah, right, okay. Well, upstairs in the Merchant Adventurers Hall in New York is a courtroom, and that courtroom is supposedly, well, it isn't supposed, but it's from the York Castle.
Right.
And there's a famous person who's supposed to be tried in front of that court, but it's never been proven if it actually was or not. We think we possibly got that person through, but we could also argue the fact that it could have been one of our regular spirits who we have there who were just taking the mick. So, because we have 4 venues. We have Fairfield Manor and Jacobs Well, Merchant Adventurers Hall, and Bedern Hall.
Yeah.
And we've got Mill Racers Cottage now as well. So we have
yes,
5
Mill
venues.
Race Cottage. Yes.
Yeah.
And
I
those
hate
5,
to get to that one.
you need to. Those 5 venues are what we do regularly.
Yeah.
Because we've done them regularly, we almost know what activities work to attract which spirits.
Yeah, it helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, and so that really helps when we do this paranormal investigations. But it becomes a familiar thing. But that spirit was. We do know there's jokers in that particular venue, and they might have just been having us on. So we'd like to say maybe, but maybe not.
Yeah, I've had that where I've been on a location and it's haunted antiques, there's different items, and somebody says they belong to an item. They come out with the story, and we did a live feed, and people were Googling. So we were asking the spirit questions, we're getting answers on the board, and then people watching were Googling to then ask questions to check if it was talking rubbish or not, like what's your wife's name and things like that, to like validate the information. And yeah, they got it wrong. So there you go.
Yeah.
But it can happen. So Phil Newton wonders if it's Dick Turpin, the famous guy. I wondered that.
Yeah.
I thought Dick Turpin when he's speaking. Apparently, it comes down Nottingham as well. He has been down this direction apparently as well. But I don't know.
You have to book on an event and come and find out.
Yes, definitely. So Paranormal Research York, for anyone in the UK, it's just a beautiful city anyway. But
it is.
If you go to York, try and get on a paranormal event. And I'm really hoping to go to Mill Race Cottages. Yeah, I'm really hoping.
That's yeah.
But I'm actually off that day, so I can actually get to York, get to my hotel, then come out again. So yeah. But yeah, I can do that. It's doable.
Yeah, Mill Race is what is our newest venue. We've only been there once or twice, but that's proving quite active. It's interesting. We haven't done a lot there, have we, Mark? It's been some good CCTV though from there.
Yeah, there's been some interesting bits.
Yeah, the history of it's quite. It's an old butcher shop. And a house. So I think you've got the dog now.
Brilliant.
It is an old butcher shop from sort of 1300s?
1500s, I think
13,
it is.
1500s.
Yeah.
No, 16, 17. But the location of it is right on the back of Cawood Castle.
Wow,
So
yeah.
Cawood Castle is where Henry VIII and Thomas Wolsey met when who was having the affair?
Yeah, I think Catherine Howard was King. Was that King's Manor? That's when we did King's Manor. I get confused.
Yeah, but also Cawood. That's where they found out.
You can't put me on the spot. I've got to let the dog out. That's it.
when Catherine Howard was having the affair with Culpeper, Thomas Culpeper, she was found out at King's Manor, but they were having the affair at Cawood Castle, which backs onto the Millrace Cottage. So we do get some spirits that are from that era in there.
Wow. Okay.
But as Mark said with the CCTV, it's a learning thing, isn't it, Mark? Because we had the door, didn't we?
Yeah, we did have a door that closed, but once we've gone back through it, we can't narrow it to say that a certain person disappeared from the room and it could have been them. So
yeah,
but it's one of them. We look through it so many times and we can't say yes, we can't say no.
We've just got to keep investigating and hopefully
get
it
now
again.
We have cameras on both sides of the door, don't we? So
that's the thing. It's learning these different venues. Obviously, the CCTV is new, so it's learning where to put cameras, which rooms, and it can be different each time. So it's testing, but it's good fun.
Yeah, that's it. But we just had a technical issue. Sorry about that, everyone. As far as it seems to be working on my Wi-Fi, and I can see everyone here, so I don't quite know what's happening within. A voice is going. I don't know why either. I don't know if Tina Norgrove is here now. Tina has recently started going out on investigations. So she did the first one the other week and wants to know about grounding and protection. So do you do grounding and protection as a team?
That's your
yeah, we do we do a protection prayer, if you like, at the beginning of each event, and then we close down at the end of it, but we make sure that the spirits stay there as well. by doing the opening protection, if you like, what we do is the guides that come in and work with us act as bouncers, and they will allow some characters through, but not dark characters. Not anything that's going to cause any major issues. Obviously, we like to have people, spirits that come through, not just nice ones, but we like to have we do like ones that have got a bit of character and a bit feisty sometimes. We're not averse to that. It makes the night interesting, but no really dark stuff, which is good.
Yeah, you don't want evil.
No.
I used to say, like, I work in Love and Light when we're getting something ropey through. You just get, even like when I hadn't done much investigating, you just get a sense as something's not right, and no, not doing that any longer.
Yeah, and one thing that we do at our events, which I know other people do, but if spirit is stuck and they want help to move across, then we'll do that. We will help them to move across. And people say, well, why would you do that on a ghost hunt? Because surely you want the ghost to be around. But what we found is that if we do move somebody on, that generally opens the door for more spirits to come through, because they want to interact, because there's a chance you could get home, so it's it becomes a bit more active rather than the opposite. You would think.
That's an interesting one. I never thought about that.
But also, some of these spirits don't actually want to be there. They want to be able to pass over.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think if you've got the skill or the gift to do that, then I think you shouldn't be selfish and you should do it. But equally, we have as many spirits at the venues that we go to who don't particularly want to leave. They're quite happy coming, and they'll come into the circles. They'll come into the activities, regular ones, and they'll come in with the same answers and the same responses, and it's they're fun to have around. But if you ask them if they want to go back, no, they're not bothered. So we don't do that.
That's great. It's great that you've got ones who will come through to you and you can chat to. I was at an event and somebody from the place came through who'd passed over, but somebody working there actually knew him.
Right.
So we were actually able to ask more questions about the afterlife, which was great. And obviously because the guy knew him, it's great. Validation, and like one of the questions was, did you realize how much everyone respected you when you worked here? No. You understand now how well respected you were? Yeah. And wow, when you get that at an event, it's so amazing and beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. Sometimes when we have guests coming and we'll open a board or we'll use a planchette or something similar, we can ask them. And we do the human pendulum. You understand the human pendulum?
Yeah.
If we get a personal connection through, and that person's in the middle, and they're unsure, because when you're asking questions, they don't. If you ask them direct questions, they almost preempt the answer.
Yes.
And so what? And if you've got fingers on the board, or planchette, you can see guests almost like guessing what the answer is going to be, and then we'll encourage the person who the message is for to ask questions in their head, and then the board goes round, and there's only them know what the answer is going to be, so that's sort of better proof for them as well.
Yeah, that's
and that works really well.
Like I'd like to do the human pendulum with the person in the middle with headphones on and blindfold.
So,
like I've done the human pendulum, and you stand there and you think in your head it's like, I should be moving soon. Come on, I should be moving. Then you kind of move and think, oh, okay, I've moved, and you kind of feel under pressure, but I don't push it. But you kind of think, well, I'm not moving, I'm not in. But if you've got headphones, and then you just do it.
Yeah.
And then also you've got the validation that if someone asks the wrong question, like, are you female? You go forwards. Are you male? And you go forwards again. Then you've got the validation that it's not working or someone's messing about. Because on the human pendulum, people do generally accept the answers, don't they?
Do you know what? We've had exactly the same issue with the human pendulum, where we get the same direction for yes and for no.
Yeah.
And we found out actually that's actually two spirits using the pendulum. So what we do, we open up a parallel pendulum.
Wow.
So we have one set of pendulums one side, another set on the other side, so next to each other, and we talk to them individually as two spirits, and it works that way.
Wow, that's cool.
So if you get that again, try that.
Yeah, it's cool.
I know one of the teams that I've been out with, that's what they use, and honestly, it's so funny. Because like we were out one night at a castle, and they did the double human pendulum, and it was like they were having a conversation. One shouted Billy, and the other shouted Willie, and it was so funny. It was like listening to the two of them. I was sitting there memorised, just watching them.
Yeah.
It is interesting, and it's interesting for newbies as well, because anybody who's never had a paranormal experience and they're standing in the middle and they're moving and think, oh, what's going on here? And it helps them because they know they've not forced it.
Yeah.
And they know something's happening, or they feel pushed or something. It's interesting.
At the last event we did a couple of weeks ago, we had a group of 5 lads who came, and they'd never been on an investigation before, and so they were quite scientific minded.
It was a stag night.
It was a stag night. They didn't tell us, but they were quite sort of curious, but sort of quite logical in thinking as well.
Yeah.
And they all said they wanted their own proof. And when we went in the human pendulum, the guy who was in the middle, it didn't move a lot. It was very, very slight sway, but not enough to convince anybody.
Yeah.
But what he did say, he felt his backside getting felt, and there was nobody around him. he couldn't explain that one, so he took that away.
Bless him.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a question here from Phil Newton. Let's start with Mark first then. What is the best location you've been to that has blown your minds and you can't debunk?
Well,
I'll probably have to say Jacob's Well.
Jake as well.
It's just like I said earlier, it's just different each time. One of the ones that sticks out to me is one night we was doing an investigation. Most of the team was upstairs with the guests, and there was me and Claire downstairs setting up some of the gear. And we heard a baby cry, and it was about 10:30 at night. And I was like, "Did you hear that?" I was like, and I was near the front door, so I shot straight out. There was no one out in the street. There's nothing either side of the building, and the team heard it upstairs as well. And it was weird because you couldn't explain where this bit, because I was like, oh, what's someone doing out with a baby at this time of night? But there was no one on the street.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Remember that.
So I think that's the one that sticks out to me, that the most sort of, you find a lot of different things happening.
Yeah. So what about you then, Claire?
Oh, the
Location and occurrence, really.
Oh, let me think. Bedden Hall. We were doing, correct me if I'm wrong, but we were sat in the hall and we were all in a circle. We're doing a shout out, and the hall keeper had joined us for the evening. So the front door was locked, the internal door was closed, and we're all sat there. And Ellie, the hall keeper, was there as well. And we're doing some shout outs, and the door latch on the handle just lifted and dropped. And
Wow.
this door handle we're talking is a big,
6 inches.
a big round iron door handle, and you actually have to lift it up and drop it to make that sound. And everybody was just, what was that? What? But we can't explain that. There was nobody outside. No, you can't get in. The door's locked. So who or what lifted this door handle? And that was a recent one. I mean, I could just go on and on and on, but that for me, like Mark, and the crying baby sound at Jacob's Well, that's just another one. Merchant Adventures Hall, when we go there, you can hear, we've heard monks chanting. Oh, wow. Just very faintly, the sound of monks. We've heard children laughing there. It's just everywhere. Go on, you go next, because I'll just go on. I'll just ramble. I'll just sit here with a cup of tea. I'll just get a slice of cake and a cup of tea, and I'll just ramble.
There's nothing wrong with rambling.
I'll just shush now.
I guess mine was one I shared with Claire, and it was during lockdown in York, and I don't get scared by the paranormal. I'm quite happy that I've got strong guides, and I think I've seen a lot of things that probably people might make people run, but I've always had that sort of strong, sort of solid foundation that I'm not going to be rocked. And we were walking down Fossgate towards Merchant Adventures Hall, and Claire said, "This is in lockdown, so there's nobody about." And Claire said, "Oh, what's that tent in the middle of the road?" And I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see it. And I said, I can't see what you're talking about. She said, "There's a tent in the middle of the road, like an incident tent." And I says, "I can't see it." So we were just walking back to the car. It was in Castlegate, near Clifford's Tower. And as we were walking past this little bit of land, Claire said, "There's a young man there waving." And I looked, and I didn't see. I didn't connect with it.
Wow.
And she said, and we continued to walk past. She said, "Look, he's really trying to catch our attention." And I said, "Right, okay, then no worries." I said, we'll go and try and connect with him and see what we get. So we went over this little strip of land, And sure enough, connected straight away with this young man who said he'd been murdered and needed some help to go home. And it was quite a recent passing as well, within the last 5 years or so. So I did my usual sort of thing in my head, passing people over, and it went straight. It was going absolutely straight forward until suddenly, as the young man started to leave, this black shadow just came in between us and tried to stop it.
Oh my
Tried to stop him from moving over. And it caught me, I must admit, it caught me by surprise.
Yeah.
And as I sort of struggled to move him over, I sort of kept my concentration, and really had to sort of keep my concentration strong.
Yeah.
And did manage to get this young guy across. But I was quite aware that this dark shadow, I had no idea what it was. It wasn't a spirit, but just a shadow. It wasn't making any intelligent responses. Had tried to stop me, and I didn't say anything to Claire. I just sort of walked. We started off walking back round again, and I don't know if you know where Clifford's Tower car park is, but you can go around that little alleyway to the shops from the behind. Oh, it's not Debenhams, is it? It's
Phoenix.
Thank you, Mark. But I was really conscious of all of these dark shadows emerging from the walls.
Oh gosh.
And
Oh my God.
it wasn't just one or two. There was a lot, and it was almost as if they were curious about what I'd just done, and maybe wanted to see who it was, or maybe they were trying to intimidate me. But I really just did not want to engage with anything. I just wanted to get the car.
You don't know what it is, do you?
And as we walked along behind Phoenix, there's a little recessed doorway, and this huge shadow just stood there and just moved out about 2 feet. Not enough to block the path, but enough to make itself present. And I just never said anything to Claire. I wasn't speaking at this point. I was just literally just focused on getting back to the car. And it wasn't until we got to Clifford's and Claire wanted some more pictures of the tower at night. And I just said, look, just get in the car. And then she realised that I hadn't been speaking and there was something wrong. And she said, what's wrong? I said, I'll tell you when we get out of here. And I've never been scared. That's probably about the closest I've been to being freaked out by.
That was very, very, that was very scary.
One thing it made me realise is that York is a fantastic city to be in for ghosts and spirits and paranormal.
Yeah.
And as we said before, the most haunted city in Europe. But I hadn't realised until that point just how dark it is. And it is an incredibly dark spirited city as well. And you could easily get distracted and easily fall foul of some of those spirits, because there are some strong dark spirits just in that little area. So like anywhere else. But
I think
so if you are weaker, they could attach, couldn't they? If you are weaker, they can attach to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Wreak havoc, can't they?
Yeah.
It's probably not something that we would have noticed as well if it hadn't been locked down, because you just go about your daily, now everything's virtually back to normal. People are bustling everywhere, they're shopping, they're out drinking, having something to eat. You don't notice what's going on. And I remember we were walking down the Shambles during lockdown, and it was probably only about 6 o'clock, wasn't it? And you could hear all the signs in the Shambles just blowing in the breeze a little bit, just the creaking of the signs. And that's just something you don't hear when you're walking down there. and it was the atmosphere when there's nobody in it is just completely different. And it's not all good spirits, is it?
No.
It's not, and it's a different side. It made us see York in a different side.
Respect it more, definitely.
Yeah, definitely respect it more. Definitely respect it more, because when it's not all good. There is bad as well, and when you recognise that there are bad things as well as good things, I think it does make you more respectful to what's out there, and to be respectful to spirit and realise that there are bad things as well as good things.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I've met like a really dark dark spirit who was sorry, evil in real life, and then he followed me and went camping with me.
Oh,
And it was horrible.
God.
Yeah. And it was stormy enough. And it was horrendous 65-mile-an-hour winds in Northumberland. Yeah, it was hell, and the tent was leaking, and I got stuck with him, and I felt so miserable. Because usually I battle it with camping. I've had a few dodgy issues with camping because of the weather in the UK, but that was terrible.
yeah.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, it took me so long to get rid of him. But yeah.
Yeah. But we had another incident in lockdown as well. We were out with Alicia, who was the bloody tour of York, and we were around the streets, and we had the equipment with us as well. So we had the millimeter.
Yeah.
And normally, when you have the millimeter, if it goes above 1, it's interesting, and you know you can get it going up into high sort of single figures of 7, 8, 9, and you know occasionally you'll get it higher. But we were down in the shambles outside Margaret Clitheroe's, the church. That's not their house. Their house is over the road in the Potions Cauldron.
Is that? Oh gosh, is that little place? What you go
Yeah.
into? Just like a little church in.
Yeah, it is.
Like
yeah.
a shop, really. I love that place.
The shrine.
Yeah, that's a
The shrine, I love
Shrine.
But their actual house is a Potions Cauldron.
Oh,
on
wow,
either
'cause
side
I'm
of the
really
road.
drawn to that shrine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So we were stood outside of that shrine, and the millimeter went up to 79,
Wow.
and we couldn't make it go to 79 again anyway. We couldn't get anywhere near that.
No.
We went back a couple of days later and got it to 34, I think, but we couldn't get anywhere near 79.
Ooh.
So
Guess where I'm taking my millimeter.
Yeah, but there's no electrics under the ground there. It's at the side. We were in the middle of the pavement.
Yeah.
There's nothing interfering. We checked all of that.
The Potions Cauldron is you do get a feel for things in there anyway, don't you? We went in there one evening just for some little drinks after the shops had closed, and if you go into the back, because it's just they've got a fireplace and the ceilings, and you just get a feeling that there's something there. But I mean, the shambles, it's the shambles, isn't it? There's so many different little shops down there that have so many different feelings. Yeah.
It's hard to get in the shops because I went to the ghost shop and everyone was queuing. Thought, nah, can't be bothered. But yeah, maybe I'll get a chance. But, yeah.
We're gonna have to get Mark with a CCTV down there and see what we can do.
I'm sure that would look good on Main Street. Yeah.
if I'm going to be staying practically on the next street from there,
Yeah.
I have to try and nip down if I do come to where I forgot what it's called, but there you go. If I do come there, then when I get back to York, I could just go for a wander around the shambles and.
Definitely,
Yeah.
I'll be really interested to see if you've got the same readings or the same sort of.
We'll have to meet up.
Peak on your millimeter. I'd be really interested in that.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I'm free on Sunday as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I can't wait. Yeah, just to stay in central York because last time I stayed a bit out of it and it's a bit of a walk. But now, right in the centre, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it, and then I'll be investigating where I'm staying as well. Yes. But you've got to, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You've got to check the fleece out, I guess.
Yeah, you've got to. So I've got a question about haunted dolls. What is your take on it?
We like them.
You have them.
Yeah, we like them.
Yeah, we do.
I don't.
Go on, I was going to let the dog out again. Sorry, everyone.
So have these all got history then?
Gnostic.
Yeah.
Was that Gnostic?
Yeah.
Oh, he's all right.
Oh,
that is Kitty. She is our one of our haunted dolls, and she's come from Texas, from Mexico, and then Texas. She was in a family for many years, and the family were convinced that they had nothing but bad luck.
Oh no, it's gone again. I can't believe the internet's gone now.
Yeah.
We lost the internet again.
We lost in there
That's her fault.
because it's her fault. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
just likes to show her presence. So the family said that they believed that she was bad luck and wanted rid of her. And so the lady who warned us said, do we want her? So we said we would take her. And she sent the parcel and she sent the tracker number, and we tracked her all the way, and she came by boat, and she went all the way across the Atlantic. She was in the middle of a storm. And when we went and picked her up from the post office, because we were both at work, so we had to go and pick her from the post office. We both I got really soaking wet because we had to run and go and get it. And then when we got it home, we announced on our Facebook group that we were going to do a live opening and reveal the doll.
Yeah.
So we were at this table where we sat now, and we had the camera set up, we had the lights set up, we had the recorder set up, and then we just cut into the box, and the heavens opened and really sort of smashed the rain against the bay window just over there, and all the equipment failed. It just all went dead. It all went dead, and so we cancelled the live. And as soon as we cancelled the live, the rain stopped.
Oh my God!
It was like we hadn't connected all of the rain things until we saw. Actually, when we were at the post office, it was raining. Well, actually, when she came over to the Atlantic, it was in an eye of a storm, and it was sort of retrospectively connecting the dots. And to be fair, she has been a bit of a nuisance at times. Even in this house, if she doesn't like where she's been put, like in a cupboard, she used to push the cupboard door open. The cupboard door would be open for no reason at all, and that's where she was. But now she sits on a rocking chair in the office.
Pride of place.
And she's quite happy. And but she will, if she's provoked, or she gets quite angry and can turn internet off and things like that.
Wow.
So yeah. So in reaction to the question, do I believe in haunted dolls? I certainly believe in this one.
Yeah, that's like they've been having a conversation on the chat, and like everyone's like, you can go to some places. You can go to. I'm not even saying the locations. I went to the Grey Street, and there's loads of dolls, and I think they're all haunted or something. And you go up, and they're all haunted. Really, no, but. I have seen dolls with different energies, definitely. Yeah. There's a doll at Haunted Antiques called Hannah, which she's a cow, basically.
Yeah.
I really don't like her. No, she just wants attention, and I've seen her move and stuff. And I've also seen another doll there, Charlie, who falls out of a rocking chair. And you walk by. It's not the floor. We've jumped on the floor. We've tried it.
Yeah.
And he'll just fall out the chair. Whether he's pushed or he falls out, I don't know.
With sure. Kitty, we've done spirit box sessions.
And we've done I want to do a series of them with my doll because I have one as well.
And we did an Ovilus session with her, and we got a string of words that were meant nothing. So we sent the words back to the person who sent Kitty over to us, and she couldn't believe it because they all made sense to her.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So she actually said that that sort of relates to my second cousin, and there's something going on at the moment. And Kitty put some words in, and I can't know what the words were now, but basically it was a warning. And 2 days later, the lady got back in touch and said, if she hadn't warned me, that would have happened. It was something to do with her ex-husband who was coming round or something.
Oh my gosh!
But it was quite real at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it's just amazing how spirit work, isn't it?
Well,
for you to be in touch with that person, and you tell the story at that time for them.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the words were just random words, and we just had we just send a list of words to this lady.
We said it's not for us, didn't we? Said, this isn't for us. Whatever we're being told isn't for us. Oh, it'll be for her, yeah. So
and it just made perfect sense.
That's fantastic.
But you don't like him, Mark, do you?
No.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you for your time. I think we could have gone chatting all night because, you know, you're from a fantastic place. You're great energy. You know, you three. And can't wait to meet the team. And yeah.
Oh, thank you for having us. I've enjoyed
thank
it.
you so
Thanks
much
for
for your
having us.
time. It's been wonderful.
Yeah,
It
thank you
really has.
both. Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
great.
I'd like to meet your doll as well.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Well, you can meet the rest of them as well. We've got a few. Yeah.
But I'd like to say thank you to Mark because it's the first time Mark's joined us on anything like this, and
Oh, bless you.
done really well tonight.
Oh,
So
well done,
Mark.
Mark.
Thanks for having
Well
us.
done.
Well done.
Yay.
Oh,
Thanks, Mark.
hopefully I'll meet in York hopefully this year.
Cool. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
hi
lovely.
Jonathan. Hope you're all right.
Hi.
We're just about to finish, but you can catch up with.
We're going to read the comments tomorrow, either later on or
yeah.
in reply.
Yeah, they have a chat about dolls at one stage, because you're just getting it on eBay, aren't you? Where everything is a haunted doll.
Yeah.
We don't. If we see some, you have to have a feel for it. I think.
Yeah.
Unless it's a gift, unless somebody's given us one. If we are getting them ourselves, you touch it, you feel it, you hold it, you sense it. If it's you know, if there's something there, then we're growing a little collection just for Mark.
You can keep them over there.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Oh, I don't know, but thank you so much and good luck with all your
Definitely,
events.
thanks,
And,
guys.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for listening to Ramble
You
On.
have
It's
a
been really good.
page, Paranormal Research York, and you can go onto there and you can book on events in and virtually around York. But yeah, and it's what, every other week?
Not every other week, but I think
we've got a couple left this month. We're taking a couple of months off mid-summer just to recharge batteries and catch up with everything. We've got a couple of new venues hopefully coming up soon that we're just in talks with people for.
Oh, brilliant.
So they'll be added to the website and the Facebook page later on. But no, it'd be lovely to see people.
Definitely.
And our events they're not 20, 30 people at a time. They're 10, 12 maximum.
That's better,
we keep it small. We like people to be interactive and join in.
Yes. Yeah. So if you get too many, spirit's not going to come near.
It's just we've found we've been to events where teams have had 20 and 30 and even more, and it's very difficult to conduct an experiment there or do anything paranormal.
It's too much noise.
Yeah, but if you're a newcomer and you're curious about the paranormal, if you're in a group that size, you're never going to be able to develop or ask questions or do anything. Where the groups that we have, as Claire says, 10 to 12 people, we have a half dozen team members on hand at night as well. So there's plenty of support there for people. And we get a lot of people who come on their own as well. Yeah, and they're unsure about what to do, and so they'll watch and then we encourage them to get active later on, when they feel comfortable.
But nobody's forced into anything, are they? They it's all it's quite laid back and just nice. I think we're a friendly bunch.
Yeah.
We're a nice friendly bunch, and we welcome.
Unless you're standing in front of Mark's TV, then he gets a bit
upset. I've got a comment here from Andy. Tom, you're flooding an investigation by having more than 12 people.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, completely agree.
I was on one the other day. There's loads of people. We all stood in a room. The gadgets were everywhere, and people were blocking the doorway. And I said, "Well, does this? Oh God, this noisy thing kept going off in the next room. A carousel thing. It was just doing my head in. It really was. So when I went in another room, I just switched it off. It was on a laser apparently, but I didn't know the kit. I need to know the kit. It's not very well it going off, but why is it going off?
Yeah.
And it's no good somebody saying, "Oh, it's this." No, I want to see it. I want to, I'm not.
Yeah.
Until I'm convinced what it does. So it kept going off, and it's like just shut it off. you know.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt like something wouldn't come in the room because the people
Because
in
of
the
the
way,
noise. Yeah.
Mm.
and that was in the way, and yeah. But yeah, it's good. You know, it's good. And we did split off. You know, that was the first vigil to build energy, which you know you've got to break the ice, haven't you? And you know, it's good for newbies and few flashing lights and things. And then we sort of got back into nitty gritty, and you know, three of us kind of have been on teams, etc. So we kind of went into a little room all the time.
Yeah.
Did our own thing, but yeah, it's cool. And to be allowed to do that is good as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yep,
Definitely.
definitely.
But thanks, guys. Wonderful. Have a lovely night. And,
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
you.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night, guys.
Lovely.
And
Thank
good
you.
week. You're very welcome.
Thanks to all
Thanks
the
everyone
viewers
for
for sticking with us.
watching. Thanks so much for all your questions, and look after yourself, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.